Hi, it's Nikki from Change Frame here, and I'm sharing with you some real life case studies and scenarios where Change Frame can really help you to move through a particular change that you're contemplating. Today, I want to talk about leaving a relationship. So, Dave arrived at Change Frame having been in a reasonably long-term relationship of 3 or so years. And for Dave, he'd actually come across someone else in his life, and he felt himself attracted to this other person. And so therefore, in this place of feeling totally conflicted and very confused in a relationship, but feeling an attraction to another. So kudos to Dave in the first instance for recognizing this and thinking, hang on, let me actually, before I just leap boots and all out of this current relationship and into something that's new and exciting with someone I've recently met, let me just take some time to think this through and really understand what's happening. So in kicking off the Change Frame process for Dave, the real why was, despite in the first instance being, I just want to be really happy and I feel really miserable in my current relationship. So we unpicked that. We tried to remove the emotion of the situation, because the thing with relationships is every relationship, even the best relationships in the world, have the ups and the downs. So the trick is to learn how to navigate each of those situations. For Dave, was feeling in a little bit of a down with his relationship. So it was no wonder that there was an attraction that had been sparked with another person. But in stepping away from the highly charged emotion of the situation, Dave was able to really reflect and gain some clarity on why he was contemplating this. And at the root of it all, for Dave, what was really important for him, the outcome that he really wanted to achieve, was to enjoy the beauty of a relationship that best served him and his partner. So that was the real why. That was the outcome Dave's wanting to achieve. So we go through the reflecting forwards process, which is where, simply closing his eyes, Dave was really able to just mentally put himself in that situation, not with a particular individual, but just identifying the kinds of emotions that he's feeling, what are the outcomes that he's expecting, and what are the things that he's doing in that relationship and for that relationship. So we actually removed all other parties or specific other parties and just really focused on what a good, healthy relationship looked like for Dave. So in doing that, when we went through the reality process, as often happens, particularly when we're looking at highly emotional situations, what can happen is there are certain beliefs that we hold deep down that we don't even realize we believe, that we are holding them, but they're actually not serving us well because they're just not true. So a lot of what came through for Dave around some of the assumptions and the beliefs that underpin some of what his fears particularly were based in really deep-seated, long-held beliefs that really weren't true for Dave. So this can be quite a confronting situation. As I said, it's already a highly emotionally charged scenario. And to actually go through that process and confront some of those beliefs that you've held for a long time, and with good reason in your mind, to actually challenge that can feel really destabilizing and very confronting. So it was important for Dave to actually be kind to himself through this process. It is not intended to be a stick for the purpose of self-flagellation of why have I thought these things, why have I believed these things. The process is about recognizing that you have and accepting and embracing that that's been your reality, but understanding that it's time and you're open to a new reality and exploring what that reality looks like and how you can go about creating it and achieving it for yourself. So for Dave, we were really wanting to be clear on what that healthy, functioning, satisfying for both parties relationship, what that looked like for him. So after doing a fair bit of myth busting in our reality check with Dave, we really started to distill the things that were most important to him. And what we do with Change Frame, the other aspect of Change Frame that's really critical, is it is actually about taking personal responsibility. So there's no space in the Change Frame process for the victim mentality. It's very much about understanding and identifying what are the things that you can do that are within your control to bring about that outcome that you want to achieve. So having identified what that outcome was and articulated it and got some clarity around it, Dave was then in a position to actually start to identify some specific things that he could do, regardless of which relationship he was in, that would actually start to meet those needs and achieve those outcomes. So the irony of this situation is Dave presented with what he thought was, I need to make a choice about this relationship or that relationship. But where the Change Frame process took him was really much more about, well, hey, Dave, this is actually about you. And the interesting thing being that through the process and sort of learning the art of self-reflection, what Dave actually saw himself was right through his life, a history and a pattern of jumping from one relationship straight into the next. And he'd started to see that invariably the same or very similar issues arose at a very similar point in time in those relationships. So he had effectively just repeated this pattern for the last 20 years. So here he is in this space of actually getting really clear on what's important to him. So in this scenario, it wasn't about the other person at all, but the irony being when Dave really turned within and got clear on what he valued and what he can do to bring about that situation, guess what happened? His relationships started to flourish. He rediscovered those things that are important to him, and he was able to bring that into his current relationship, and it reignited that love and that passion that had been there all along and had just fallen beneath the surface of everyday life and then got buried by lifelong beliefs that just weren't serving him well. So in that situation, it was a beautiful outcome, and that relationship has gone on to flourish, and Dave is really thrilled with the outcome. So as you can see though in this scenario, it's not even necessarily about whether I stay in this relationship or move to that relationship. It actually comes back to you. So regardless of whether it went this way or that way in terms of the relationship, the real value in the process was in the clarity Dave was able to gain within himself. So if you're finding yourself in this situation where you're either in a relationship contemplating moving to a new one, or perhaps you've seen a little bit of a pattern that's repeated itself through your life, Change Frame can be something that can help you. So I'd encourage you to pop over my website, nikkiingram.com. There's a sign up for my ebook and you'll go on my mailing list. If you really want to actually roll up your sleeves, then I'd certainly welcome you at one of my workshops in Brisbane. All of the details are on the website, nikkiingram.com. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.